Single dad lost a bet and had to live with an obese girl. What happened next changed everything. The storm outside had barely calmed when Alex Parker realized he had ruined the last piece of stability in his life. One reckless bet, made in frustration, exhaustion, and pride, had cost him not money, not reputation, but something far more difficult, his freedom to live alone with his young son. The terms were humiliating. For 3 full months, he had to move into the guest house of a family friend, along with the girl everyone whispered about, the girl society mocked, the girl whose weight made her the target of endless jokes. Her name was Mia. And that night, as lightning flashed across the sky, Alex had no idea that stepping into her quiet, lonely world would become the turning point his broken life desperately needed. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of unexpected connections, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Grandma Dearie before the story continues. Alex entered the house carrying a single suitcase and the tired spirit of a man who had been fighting life for too long. His 7-year-old son, Liam, clung to his hand with innocent curiosity. The house was warm, quiet, smelling faintly of vanilla and fresh laundry. And then he saw her, Mia, standing in the doorway of the living room, wearing a loose yellow dress, her fingers nervously twisting together. She was overweight, yes, but there was something strangely soft, peaceful, and gentle in her presence, something Alex had not felt in years. Her eyes avoided his. His pride avoided hers. Their worlds did not meet that night, and both hoped they never would. But the next morning changed everything. Mia woke early and cooked breakfast, eggs, fruit, warm bread, and tea. She wasn't trying to impress anyone, she simply lived with the belief that caring for others was her silent way of existing. Alex, who had been rushing through life with takeout meals and constant stress, sat at her table, feeling something unfamiliar, the feeling of being looked after. Mia didn't say much, she only smiled shyly and placed a mug in his hands. And for the first time in months, Alex felt the heaviness inside him loosen. Days passed, and Alex slowly discovered that Mia wasn't just living alone, she was surviving loneliness at a level most people couldn't imagine. She had spent years being judged, laughed at, and rejected, so she built her world in quiet corners, behind kitchen counters, inside books she never finished, and in dreams she never believed she deserved to chase. She had a heart that overflowed with kindness but no one who stayed long enough to notice. Yet Liam noticed. He became the bridge Alex never intended to build. The boy would follow Mia everywhere, tugging her dress, asking her to read to him, making her laugh with his innocent mispronunciations. And slowly, the girl who had learned to walk quietly began to smile without hiding it. Living together wasn't easy. Alex had his flaws. His temper flared at small things. His pride made him distant. His past, his broken marriage, his financial struggles, and the constant pressure of being a single dad, shaped him into a man who forgot how to rest. Sometimes he would snap without meaning to, lost in worries he never spoke aloud. And Mia, gentle but deeply insecure, would step back, believing she had upset him simply by existing. Those moments were heavy, painful, charged with silent misunderstandings. Yet every time, Liam was the one pulling them back together, through a shared meal, a small question, a request for Mia's stories. As weeks turned into months, Alex began noticing things he had never noticed before. He saw how Mia wiped the counters 3 times when she was nervous. How she always served herself last. How she hid behind oversized clothes because the world taught her to apologize for her body. He also noticed how her presence softened the sharp edges of his heart. She never judged him. She never questioned his past. She simply accepted him, even when he couldn't accept himself. And that acceptance began to change something inside him. One evening, after a long and painful day at work, Alex returned home defeated. He sank onto the kitchen floor, his head in his hands, overwhelmed by the fear of failing his son. There were no lectures, no questions, no pity. Mia simply sat next to him, offering silent companionship. Her shoulder touched his, just a light, trembling touch, but it was enough to break him. He cried. Not loudly, not dramatically, but quietly, the way a man cries when he finally allows himself to feel. In that fragile moment, without words, Mia became something he never expected, a safe place. From that day on, their connection grew deeper. Alex began joining Mia in the kitchen, helping her chop vegetables or bake muffins. They shared small stories, small jokes, small, warm moments that slowly stitched their damaged pieces together. He learned she dreamed of becoming a pastry chef someday but was too afraid to try. She learned he feared repeating every mistake from his past. And in those shared confessions, their hearts began to align. The real turning point came when Mia fainted in the kitchen, exhaustion, stress, and years of ignoring her own needs catching up with her. Alex carried her to the couch, panic gripping him. In that moment, he realized how deeply she had become part of his life, how much he cared for her, and how much he needed her. He promised himself he would support her the way she had supported him, without expectations, without conditions, without hesitation. And he kept that promise. He encouraged her to follow her dreams, and she slowly found the courage to apply to a culinary program. She encouraged him to talk about his fears, and he found strength he didn't know he had. Together, they built a home, not by choice, not by a lost bet, but by the quiet power of kindness. And somewhere along the way, love found them. Softly. Unexpectedly. Beautifully. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Grandma Dearie. Your support helps these emotional stories reach more people who need hope. Before we end, please comment below what part of the story moved you the most. Your words truly matter.